Hello everyone. Today in this video we will see about software requirement specifications and the chief characteristics of software. In the last video we will see about the software engineering field, that what are the basic terminologies that are used in software engineering and what are software development lifecycle phases we will see in the last video. If you don't watch that video, please go and watch that video and come further for this video. This is basically the outline that we will cover in this video. What is are the characteristics of software? What is SRS? Diagrammatic representation of SRS. Characteristics of good SRS. What are functional and non-functional requirements? Characteristics of software. Before going for the software requirement specification, it is necessary for us to know about the characteristics of software, that what it is the main characteristics of software. That as we all know that the hardware is built by the human creativity process like analysis, design, testing and constructing the particular hardware. Similarly, as it is in the physical form, as this process is similarly applied on the software. It applies on the software not in the physical form but in the logical form by applying the logical thinking of the constructor or the person who have built the particular software. The chief characteristics of software is that software is developed but it is not manufactured. As compared to hardware, the process of both software and hardware are same, but there are some difference between them. That is, hardware is built by physical form while the software is built in the logical form. In the software, there is a logical thinking is applied, while in the hardware there is physical thinking is applied, and the persons that are used in hardware is not similar to software, and their working performance are also different. So it is conclude that software is developed but it is not manufactured. Software cannot be wear out but it become worse. This is the second most important chief characteristic of software, that software cannot be wear out, means that software cannot be completely destroyed but it becomes weak, or it may becomes uh, it may require some updations in the futures. So but the hardware can completely destroyed because of some problems such as temperature, humidity, and some other aspects. But the software cannot be destroyed. It can be further improved. Every software failure denotes an error in design or in the process by which design was converted into machine executable code. So software maintenance involves much more complexity as compared to the hardware. While this shows the curve between the hardware and software, that the hardware complexity is less as compared to software, because in the software the logical thinking of the person is applied. A hardware can completely be destroyed but the software cannot be completely destroyed. Although trend is toward component based assembly, but software is still to be custom built. The Okay, this characteristic state that as an engineering discipline is develops, a set of standard design component is built. The reusable components means once the software is built, it should be developed in such a manner that its code should be used in the future also. The reusable component have been built so that the engineer can be focused on the completely new and correct elements of a design. While in the hardware world, component reuse is a real part of the engineering process. In the software world, it is something that has only started to be achieved on a large scale. By keeping in mind the concept of reuse various different programs, a software component should be designed and implemented. Modern reusable components combines both data and the processing applied to the data. It helps the software engineer to create new applications from the reusable codes or the reusable part. Software requirement specification. As the name suggests that software requirement specification is stands for SRS, it is the description or the records of the requirements that the particular software is required. That how the particular software should be developed. It is documented in the form of requirements by gathering from the client side. It is the it is developed by the contract between the customer and the requirement gathering team. This is basically SRS diagrammatic representation of the software requirement specification. The domain requirement is classified as functional and non-functional. These both are the comes under the domain requirements, and these are also the types of software requirements. The chief characteristics of good SRS. As we all know that the SRS is required to build a particular software, it is necessary that the SRS should be good, means that it should be correct, it should be complete, it should be consistent, it should be unambiguous, and it should be modifiable, it should be verifiable, it should be traceable, it should be testable, and it is also design independence, and it is in the form so that the customer can easily understand or the client can easily understand. This is the main point, that the customer should easily understand this point, that the SRS is in the form of customer language. In the SRS, there is a right level of abstraction. Once the SRS is developed, it is further reviewed by the customer so that it can be correct, or it may not occur the further disruption or further hurdles in the future by building the software. It should be complete, means that the whole aspects of the requirement, that is functional as well as non-functional requirement, is covered. It should be consistent, and it should not be ambiguous, means that there is no ambiguity present in the particular SRS. These are the main chief characteristics of a good SRS. The components of SRS. SRS consists of components which are as follows, that is functional requirements, non-functional requirements, and goals of implementation. The functional and non-functions are comes under the domain requirements, while goals of implementation is the requirement that will be covered in the further modification of the particular software. Functional requirement. As the name suggests, the functional requirement is cover the functionality or the behavior of the applications. It defines a function of system or its components, whereas a function is defined as a specification of behavior of particular applications between inputs and outputs. In general, we can say that how the particular application should behave, how is their user interface behavior can be understood by the particular client, is known as the functional requirement, and what its functions for the particular input is also its functional requirement. So that we can say that the example of functional requirements are user interface behavior, functional details of products features, such as if we give the one input, what will be the further input we can understand from it. Non-functional requirements are the requirements that define system attributes such as scalability, load capacity, reliability, performance, and usability. Means that the functionality that not covered in the functional requirement is covered in the non-functional requirement. Means that the particular software should be portable. Means that it can be understand from one platform to another platform. It can be portable, means that it can be sent from one system to another system, and it should be in a runnable form, means that there should be no error. It can be covered from the non-functional requirement. It should be authentified, means that the particular software should be authentic, means that only the admin person can use it or the particular user can use it. No the hackers or the fisher that particular attacks on the software is occurred, that covers under the non-functional requirements. The goal of implementation, as the name suggests, that the goal of implementing the particular software is that if the further modification or the further development is occurring by the developers, that should be meet the particular client expectations in the future. This is one of the most important requirements in the SRS. Thank you very much. If you like the video, please like, subscribe and share. Keep learning, keep watching. Thank you very much.